Welcome back to my channel. So the Sephora sale is amongst us, yay! And I asked over on my Instagram what kind of Sephora makeup related videos you guys wanted to see, and somebody said powder foundation, and this is actually a video I've been meaning to film for a long time, so perfect timing. All of these products, I think, is Cover FX still sold at Sephora? Or did they move it over to Ulta? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 powder foundations I want to tell you guys about. I also, as you can tell, am wearing no makeup right now because I was planning on putting one on for you, showing you how to apply it, how I like to apply it. Okay, of the 7, I'm gonna start like least favorite to most favorite. Let's see if I can rank these in order. So least favorite, I'm just gonna talk about the Cover FX one because I'm not even sure if it's sold at Sephora anymore. I wear the color P20 in this one, by the way, and this is their Pressed Mineral Foundation. The reason why I don't like this is I feel like the color just never really worked for me. P is their pink shades, it's their rosy tones, their cool tones, but for some reason it still ran very like orangey in my opinion. I feel like I can get away with it more in the summertime when I have like the slightest bit of a tan. I felt like it was a little bit on the cakey side, but there's ways to get around that and there's ways to prevent the cake, especially with powder foundations. If you feel like it's looking a little bit too cakey, my trick is to spray a setting spray on top and then get your beauty blender or your sponge within the powder and kind of like press it in. My second least favorite is, I have 2. MAC is definitely not sold at Sephora, so we'll just get the Ulta products out of the way since this is supposed to be a Sephora video. So MAC Studio Fix, it's very, very heavy. MAC Studio Fix liquid foundation, I love. That is the liquid foundation I wore on my wedding day. So I figured, you know what, if I like the liquid so much, I will probably like the powder. I tend to wear powder foundation most frequently. I feel like it's just easier, it's quicker, it's more forgiving. And me being a mom now, I think right around the time of my pregnancy, I started to shift back into powder foundation and away from liquid foundation. I still wear liquid foundation, but mostly on special occasions. Anyways, that was a big old long tangent on this one. This one looks very, very heavy, and I can sometimes get away with, you know, spraying it and patting it down, but it's just more on the like the full coverage, like cakey side. I have the color NW20, by the way. Next up is Laura Mercier, and I can't really say I don't like this one. I can just say the times that I tried it, I wasn't like, ooh, you know, like I wasn't like uber impressed. Whereas the next 4 that I'm going to tell you guys about, pretty much after the first use, I was like, yes, these are amazing. You know what I mean? This one I was just like indifferent about. So this is the Laura Mercier Smooth Finish Foundation Powder. First of all, the packaging is way, way bulky for what the powder actually is. Like here's the pan, and it's just a lot of packaging, which, you know, doesn't affect the performance of the powder at all, but look at how little the pan is. The color I have here is 1C1. The color was fine, but it just wasn't one of those that like wowed me, you know what I mean? I probably need to use it a little bit more to like determine if I really like it or not. Okay, number 4 is by Tarte. This one is very old. It's been around for probably like 7 or 8 years. I remember when they first launched this, I was like so excited about it because I was a die-hard Bare Minerals fan, and this was the first like other company that came out with a loose mineral powder. So I was all about it. I wear the color light beige. This one is really good, you guys. It's the only loose powder foundation I'm going to tell you about. It has like this little netting right here, which is nice because then you don't get a ton of powder on your brush. I feel like this is one of those foundations that looks better throughout the day. It looks better as you wear it. When you first put it on, you're like, ooh, that looks pretty. But throughout the day, like as you kind of sweat and your natural oils kind of mix with it, it looks more and more like skin. It looks better and better. And by the end of the day, you're like, wow, my face looks amazing. Number 3, or I guess 3rd from the top, whatever you want to call it, is by Too Faced. This is their Born This Way multi-use complexion powder. I wear the color Seashell. This is really good. If you're a fan of the original Too Faced Born This Way, like the liquid version, this is essentially a powder version of the liquid foundation. I feel like it's probably medium coverage. You can make it light coverage though if you just kind of dust it on. It also depends on what kind of brush you use, which we'll talk about here in a second. This one you can also use to like set your under eyes if you're wearing under eye concealer. Every single time I wear this, I feel like it looks great. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. I think the color range is pretty good. Okay, my top 2, it was hard to pick a favorite, but I think I got it. So runner up is Makeup Forever. This is the 3rd like tin of this I've gone through. That's how much I like it, and it's a fairly new product. So I've gone through all of those fairly quickly, which either tells you like the product itself goes really quickly, or I use it a lot, you know what I mean? So probably the most full coverage in my opinion, but it doesn't look like powder. It's kind of similar to the Tarte one now that I think about it, and now that I'm like saying it out loud. They perform very similarly, except for this one is a loose powder, this one is a pressed powder. I prefer pressed powders. I just think they're a little bit easier, less messy, less fussy. Here's what it looks like. You can also use the sponge it comes with. This is the only powder foundation that I actually have used the sponge that comes with the powder itself. I don't feel like it looks cakey. It lasts a long day, and it's one of those that looks better throughout the day as you wear it. The full coverage powders, I would say, are a little bit less forgiving, such that if you don't have a perfect match, just make sure you drag it down your neck and onto your décolleté so that it blends well. I will also say, I think they marketed this as transfer proof. I don't think it's transfer proof. I think if you're wearing sunglasses, you're definitely gonna get like the sunglass marks on your nose. If you hug somebody and you like rub your face on them, it's definitely gonna get on them. It gets on your mouth. All of these get on your mouth. I mean, we know how the mask situation works, right? Okay, number one powder foundation for me, at least right now, it's the Fenty Beauty. This one is the newest of the bunch. It's the most recently released of the bunch. It's her Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation. I wear the color 150. By the way, Makeup Forever, I wear R220, in case you were wondering, shade-wise. This is one that I wasn't sure I was going to like. I really do not like the original Fenty Beauty foundation, so I was kind of hesitant to buy this because I wasn't sure what my feelings would be on it, but I love it so much. It's like medium to full coverage. You can build it. It's so finely milled that it doesn't look thick, it doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey. It's very forgiving. So even if, you know, it's not a perfect match, I don't feel like I have to worry about blending it down my neck. It looks like skin. Like, it's very undetectable on your skin. It is amazing. It's so good. Also, the color range is probably the best in this one compared to some of the others. The packaging is super cute. You got this like hexagonal thing here. I've heard that the L'Oreal Infallible is a dupe for this one. I have not been able to get my hands on the L'Oreal. I check every single time I go to Target. It's never in stock. This is it. This is my favorite. This is my go-to. I'm definitely grabbing a backup during the Sephora sale because Fenty Beauty is one of those brands that rarely goes on sale. So this is the one I'm going to put on my face today so you can kind of see how it applies. As far as how I apply a powder foundation, I use a brush. I like to use these big fluffy brushes. These are the two that I use most frequently. This particular brush is not available anymore, but Sephora does have a new version of it. This is their Pro 61. They discontinued these brushes a little while back, and then they like revamped them with new handles and stuff like that. So I will find its replacement and I will link it down below for you. This was such a good brush. Like, it is densely packed but loose enough to where it works for your all over face, and it's so big and so fluffy. I actually have a backup of this. When they discontinued these and they were on sale, one of you guys actually Instagrammed me and you were like, hey, the 61 brush, it's like 10 bucks or something like that. Typically it was like $45. This is the one that is still available. It's not sold at Sephora. So it's an Ulta brush. It's the IT Cosmetics 211 all over powder brush. It's probably the most similar that I've found to the Sephora one. This one is more densely packed, and a more densely packed brush is going to give you more all over coverage, is what I've found when it comes to powder foundations. If you use a more fluffy brush, a more loose packed brush, you're going to get more of a light coverage. The thicker the brush, the thicker the coverage. Think of it like that. I always use a primer when I use powder foundation. I think this is the key because I will go on top of powder foundation with like cream blush, cream bronzer, cream highlight, and everyone's like, how do you do that? And I'll show you today how I do it, but I think the trick is having a good facial primer. So I have all my skincare on, and then this is the facial primer I have been using. It's almost gone. It's by Urban Decay. It's their all-nighter facial primer. So I will just put one pump on. I focus it a lot on my cheeks, my chin, my nose, and right here. So basically like my T-zone. So I also prime my eyes and I do my concealer before my powder foundation. I'm going to show you how I do it because I get really lazy with it. So this is the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. I put that on first. I don't blend it out. I'll show you why. And then I go in with my concealer. So this is the Hourglass Vanish, I think. And I put a couple of dots there. Then I will get my damp beauty blender and blend it all at the same time. This is how lazy I am, you guys. It works though. Especially on days when I'm in like a huge hurry. I feel like it's so easy to just like pop, 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 and then blend out. I also set my under eyes before my powder foundation. So this is the Hourglass Diffused Light Ambient Lighting Powder. So I'm just gonna put that on my lids, my under eyes, and just set this first. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the powder foundation and my IT Cosmetics brush. There's a hair on there. And I'm just gonna buff it in. So yeah, I basically put the brush in the pan and then buff it on until the coverage is to my liking. As you can see, I mean, you can't see super up close, but I feel like this powder foundation is like undetectable. It's just, you can't see it on your skin, but slowly your complexion starts to look better. It starts to look more flawless, it starts to look more even, and you're just like, wow, you know? It's almost like a translucent powder, but obviously it's not because it comes in colors. So it's just, I really like it. She did a really, really good job creating this. Okay, so I'm actually gonna step away to do like my eyes and like the rest of my makeup, my lips, but I'm gonna save the cheeks to do on camera with you guys, so you can see how I go on top of the powder with cream products and nothing moves. So we'll be back for that. Someone wanted to come and say hi. You say hi to the camera? Hi. Okay, I'm back and I've done everything except for cheek makeup, and you're about to see the magic of cheek makeup, you guys. I picked up a powder product, a pot cream product, and then like an actual kind of like liquid cream product. And I'm gonna put it all right on top of the powder foundation. I don't apply things any differently on top of a powder than I would on top of a cream. I'm gonna start with the bronzer. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her airbrush bronzer. Huge, huge pot. So this is a big fluffy bronzer brush, and I'm just gonna put it all over. I don't feel like it moves the foundation around at all. Woo, even just bronzer alone makes a huge difference, right? Next for blush, this is by Patrick Ta. It's his split pan blushes. So there's a cream and a powder. I've actually never used the cream in this before, so we're gonna try it out together, I guess. We're gonna try that one first, and then I might go on top of it with the powder. This is also how I apply the Rare Beauty blushes. I know a lot of you guys have asked me. So I just use a regular blush brush, same one that I use for my powder, and I do dab it like this. I don't swipe it, but I do that with all cream blushes, not just when I'm wearing a powder foundation. I feel like it just makes the cream blush apply better. When you swipe it, sometimes it can look streaky. So this is how I do it. I just dot it in. I am gonna go ahead and go on top of it with the powder in this blush palette just to add a little bit more pigment. Okay, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter wand in the color Pillow Talk. These are really cool. I mean, this is almost gone. You can see I have used the heck out of it. These can get a little tricky to apply, but they are so nice. She makes these in blush and contour. So I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit out, and then I'm gonna put it just right here. Just dot it like that, like the high points of my cheeks. You see that? And then I'm gonna go in with my brush and buff it out. You can use a sponge for this, but I just use my highlighter brush. The same exact brush that I would use to put a powder highlight on. I'm gonna put a little bit on the tip of my nose and a little bit on Cupid's bow. So here's the makeup after cheek products. You could tell like how different that is from before. Last thing I do is I set everything with some sort of setting spray. This one is Charlotte Tilbury. A setting spray works whether you're wearing powder foundation or liquid foundation, but I feel like it just kind of like melts everything together and makes it stick a little bit longer. This one is probably my favorite, at least right now. Okay guys, well that is the end of this video and my powder foundation routine. I hope that you guys enjoyed. All of these products are either available at Sephora or Ulta, most of them Sephora, so I will link them down below so you can pick them up during the sale. Shop during the sale, you guys. I can't stress that enough. So thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!